Welcome to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined, with your host, the one and only Betsy Tinnervin. On this podcast, we bring you people who share their personal journeys in life, business, and of course, real estate. Get motivated, inspired, and priceless information from entrepreneurs, community leaders, and realtors who are thriving. Now let's get raw and real. Here's Betsy.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, one and only Betsy Tinnervin with LPT Realty and the Sunshine State Investments team. Happy to be in the studio today. You know, I love when I can collaborate with like-minded people that are also just powerhouse players in the industry. And for all of you know, I kind of like hanging with the guys. I love the athletic outfits and the tennis shoes. And, you know, most of you will come hopefully and check us out at Grand Prix. And we're doing a big mastermind there with LPT Realty. And I'm sure that there will be many women in heels and dresses. And I will get up and do my entire presentation in Nikes, probably Z72s. Actually, I was deciphering between the white ones with the gold swoosh or potentially the white ones with the black swoosh. So I'll have to fill you in next weekend on what I had decided. But really happy to have some great guys in the studio today. It's going to be a fabulous show. We're really going to talk about business development, scaling and growth, being a disruptor. So whether you're in the real estate industry or not, we have two amazing people that have kind of done that and just done it in an exemplary fashion. So the first person that I want to introduce, and this just really shows like what the LPT culture is about. This guy and I had seen each other in passing in different situations, but he is in a totally different market. And when he was coming down to attend Grand Prix, he thought, man, I'm going to jump on the radio show with Betsy. And I was so excited to see him do this. He's doing a podcast, Moving with Matt. He is a part of the Trinity Home Team. And this is Mr. Matt Miller, friends. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me down here. Looking forward to it.
I love it. And I think that we actually first became bonded. You know, it's always like you have the passing stuff. We became bonded when I hit you up on Facebook Messenger. And this is like at 10:30 at night. And at 10:30 at night, you're responding to me and I'm asking you for comps and you're sending these things. It was an emergency situation. So it really just showed like who you were as an agent. One, most agents don't even answer their phone after 5. And two, just to kind of help me out. I really appreciated it. So talk about Trinity Home Team. What are you doing? Where you're going? Give me all the deets.
Yeah, so I just made the move over to Trinity Home Team. I was an individual agent with an LPT, and after the last breakout mastermind session we had at corporate, I decided I wanted to team up with somebody. So I ended up going with Trinity Home Team out of Daytona. And since then, that's sort of branched to where now we have Trinity and Punta Gorda. We have Trinity and Jupiter, Stewart area. We have Daytona. Now New Smyrna Beach is where I'm at. So we're really starting to expand and grow a really strong team and presence.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so I think what's really cool about, you know, joining a team, it's like one of our other shows we were talking about like collaboration and just how when you collaborate with other people, it is such a team group effort. So why join a team?
Who wants to go it alone when you can have all the support? And in real estate, I find there's plenty of times where you're going to need support. Right now, if something happens at home in New Smyrna, I don't have anyone. I'm here in the Tampa area. So it's important to have somebody that has your back and somebody that can sort of mentor and guide you. And it's just become really useful as I grow my career.
I love that. We're going to talk teams later on because I think it's really important when you're building a team, when you're a part of your team, when you identify just scale and growth, like collaborating with other people, whether it's a direct team that you're doing business with or you're creating a preferred list of vetted vendors, which leads me into a vetted vendor that is in the studio today. This guy and I have been rocking for a long time. You know, I moved to Florida in 2015 and he always shows up at the right time. So he actually took an entire flight to be here today from Chicago. And I know that he's not super disappointed, as when I just left this weekend, I was unfortunately at home for a funeral, but it was 36 degrees. So he can't be too mad at me that he had to fly across the country as he lands in 80-degree weather in basically March. It's about to be March. But Anthony Latham is the president and owner of National Title Solutions. They're a national title-based company, so they can close transactions anywhere. And we are really happy to have you here, Ant.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I love that.
This weather's beautiful.
Are you excited?
I'm thrilled.
Did you take your coat off immediately when you
I
landed?
didn't even bring one.
I love that. And you actually have a place now here.
I do.
And where is that at?
I'm Bayshore Boulevard, thanks to Betsy.
And you love that place.
I love that place.
And Anthony is a prime example. You know, we have a lot of people from Illinois, New York, and I'm sure, Matt, you can relate to this, that want to buy real estate down here. And at the time, Anthony was looking at pretty hefty price points.
I was. It was kind of discouraging at first, a couple of the offers we put in, but we got what we wanted. I was happy.
we brought it down, and you actually got a really good product at a way cheaper price.
Yeah, well, you insisted on that I wasn't going to pay full price.
Yeah, I did. I did insist that.
I was ready to pay whatever, and she's like, well, we don't pay full price. And apparently we're part of that so I didn't pay full price.
I love that. But I think for anyone looking to like relocate or having that second home here, how great has it been? I mean, I know you run a business here, so it's a little different, but just being able to come down, have your own toothbrush, your own stuff, and then being on Bayshore, just talk about that.
It's phenomenal. And the city of Tampa has come a long way since I was last here. I lived here between 2001 and 10, and it was a dead city, I would say, coming from Chicago. There wasn't a lot going on. Now there's food, activities, theater, arts. I mean, it's exciting, and it's only growing. I mean, I'm seeing cranes everywhere.
I know, and we are like now this massive tech hub, you know, so like we have all these big businesses coming here. And I think for me, like I am a trendsetter. I'm not a follower, but when it comes to real estate and watching all the people scoop up all the things and the development and growth, I'm absolutely a follower. I'm like, yep, Tampa's where it's at. I get it. So talk to me a little bit about the beginning of National Title Solutions, because actually I believe you owned a house in Riverview, Florida.
I did. So I was working for a title agency here I was a transplant from Chicago. And the main reason, and it's a funny story, there's a lot of reasons why I did it, but the one was the team that we had, it was awkward, and I knew I could do it better, and I knew I could do it. I had technology in my head, I think, before technology was a thing. I was just watching it as I was out of college, and I'm like, this is very, it needs to be advanced. We need to do something. So my idea started spinning. I branched off on my own in 2007, like an hour before the financial crisis hit. And just built a really good business brand built on service. Again, seeing what they did, when I say they, sorry, that's all I knew. I knew I could do better, and we did.
And so how exactly did you get the funds to start the company?
So luckily for me, prior to the financial collapse, I had a little bit of equity in my property, quite a significant amount of equity, and I took out just a little bit to start the business. The amount that I took is, when I tell people, it's pretty alarming in comparison to what I've built it to today. But it wasn't much. It was, let's do this. Let's hope for the best. I kept equity thinking, okay, if something fails, I didn't tap it all. Well, the market did that for me and destroyed it. So, but luckily before that, I was able to get some out and start the business, and it's worked out pretty well. And
like Matt, just thinking about that and what we do in our industry, Anthony used a piece of real estate to leverage and take a second mortgage out or pull equity out and start his entire national company. Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think that just goes with the thought that I have that there's no loss in real estate. So if you can get into real estate, as long as you're in it for the long haul, you're going to build equity. It's the only investment that I know where really you're not going to lose money if you're smart about it. So, and that just goes to prove as you pay things down, as the market changes, values fluctuate and go up and down, but you have the potential to really, get a lot of wealth from real estate.
110%. And I also think too, like especially here, a lot of markets where you see we're an apex market, so rents are rising and houses are just appreciating extremely fast and there's low inventory. Tampa was doing that before the seller's market. So I want to make that clear. And I know, Matt, you're over here from Daytona. Daytona's done well as well. However, over here in Tampa Bay, we have extremely just blown out the national average for appreciation way prior to a seller's market. So I think that we are going to have some issues with sustaining rents. I think anyone that owns an investment property right now, if you are relying on a 5-year projection and increasing your rental amounts every year 10, 15%, that's just absolutely crazy. However, real estate is the sexiest asset in America. I mean, it is. So I'm so excited to have both of you guys here today. Anyone out here listening, we're going to dive into deep with Anthony, who's a business owner, Matt, who's on a real estate team, and we're going to talk about teams and why it's important to build business foundations, systems, structures, all of those things. So whether you are looking to buy, sell, or invest, and you want to contact Matt Miller, or you're looking for just someone to look over your paperwork and understand what title does and all of the things, you can even be just an individual investor and go straight to a title company or coordinate business things with Anthony. He's amazing at that. He's one of my mentors. I have weekly conversations with him on how I run my team and systems for my business. So you are not going to want to miss the rest of this show. Matt Miller, if someone wants to contact you, can you give them your phone number, please?
Absolutely. It's 407-480-0271, and on social media, Florida Housing Dreams. And you can find me there. I love to talk real estate, so get in touch.
That's awesome. And Mr. Anthony Latham, if someone wants to contact National Title Solutions, give them your phone number.
We'll make it easy. 800 NTS 2700 and NTS National on all social media platforms.
I love that. So any of you out there looking to connect with any one of us, also, if you are in the Tampa Bay area and you are providing value in our community and you're a business owner, please contact me at 813-609-0229. We'd love to collaborate with you and have you on the show. Again, LPT Realty makes this show possible. We want to thank Robert Palmer and the executive team at LPT, because we are the catalyst and connector in the Tampa Bay area, bringing you life, business, and of course, real estate. And we will see you after the break.
The best comp plans ever and stock and revenue share, but if we're not closing real estate transactions, all of that is worthless, because ultimately everything starts with a real estate transaction, which starts with a consumer. And so we wanted to arm our agents with the absolute best technology and best marketing tools to do more real estate. And that's, again, I think a big differentiator. I think very few brokerages really sit down and say, how do we provide tools to make sure that our agents can be more productive, sell more real estate, win more listings, win at more listing appointments, help more buyers find that home. And we're very focused on that. And so while we have the best comp plans and the best ways for agents to generate wealth and earn, we also have the best tools, and more importantly, I would say have the best tools to help you be successful in real estate.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. You have not gotten rid of me yet. I am still your host, Betsy Tinervin, with the Sunshine State Investments team. And of course, this is all powered by LPT Realty. We are excited to be in the studio today. I love every show that I do. I love all of our guests. They all bring attributes to what we talk about, which is the raw and real. And anyone knows me, I'm a big jokester, but I do keep it raw and real. And we bring you the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate in the Tampa Bay community. However, today I have two special people in the studio. Matt Miller with the Trinity Home Team. He is an agent with LPT, and Matt is just a kind dude, man. Like, I'm excited to spend a couple of days with him at Grand Prix. I was just talking to Tracy Muehlman about you. I watch you on social media. He has a podcast. We're going to talk about that in segment 3. And then Anthony Latham, flown here from Chicago to attend the LPT event for Grand Prix and be a part of the mastermind. And I'm not going to let you get me emotional today, Anthony. That's a no, okay? However, when you have vetted vendors that participate in everything you do and support you, it is just phenomenal. And so when I said to Anthony that we were having this whole thing at Grand Prix and LPT agents were going to be there and I was speaking at the conference, he's like, oh, I got to come. And not only is he coming, but he's coming with his whole team. He's attending the VIP event. He paid for all of his own tickets and he's going to be there supporting our team and then commingling with a bunch of other agents. So Matt, you would be doing yourself a disservice to not connect with Anthony, because I'm telling you that it is just a Midwest thing. I think Florida is so great and it's a melting pot, but like Midwest people, we are just like ride or die, man. So when you get on flights to come see me, I mean, you get a fist bump, bro. You get enough.
Anything for you.
So I want to really talk about teams, because I think that what's really cool, and seriously, Matt, I don't know what you do for vetted vendors in your industry, and I would never tell you to steer away from them. But one thing I do with Anthony on like a weekly basis, and we talk about systems and processes and what's working, and it's either one or the other that's totally having like a massive, fit, and something's not going well. And then the next week it kind of flips to the other person. But we talk a lot about teams and structure and guidance and all of that. So you had said earlier that you were joining a team because you didn't want to be a solo agent and that you're with the Trinity Home Team. Why do you what is important about the systems and structure and processes and all of those things, especially when it pertains to real estate teams?
Well, one is it's going to allow me the opportunity to grow and get more business, which will eventually with LPT, there's different pay structures, and it'll get me to where I can start my own team is the idea behind it. Going with Trinity Home Team gave so much more available resources to me, from transaction coordinators. I was able to bring my photographer into the group, and he's now the photographer, and we can sort of package everything together, and there's value in that. And there's value for somebody that's new, that's struggling, that doesn't know what to do in real estate. You have somebody there to guide you and helps take you through the transactions.
I love that. And I think with the real estate team too, I know what we try to do with our team is we try to eliminate all the pain points of realtors. So actually, if you come visit my booth, we created a postcard, and it's this guy like with his head down and this rock on top of his head. And it's like, are you a burnt out realtor? Come join our team because we're taking away the pain points. So I think that there's a lot of pain points as a single agent because we are entrepreneurs. We have to run our entire business ourselves, and it's different because we're not a corporate entity, right? So what are some things that are beneficial when you join a real estate team that help you to provide better value to your customers, Matt?
One, transaction coordinator is huge, and that's something that's packaged into the entire split setup with the team. And that gives you the ability to really focus on your client and be there, answer your phone. I mean, the biggest thing that I did in differentiating myself was I answer my phone from 9 in the morning until 11 at night.
I am a witness to that.
So it just doesn't, I don't understand how when I try to call maybe a listing agent or a buyer's agent I'm working with, and it's just dead air. There's nothing. But having that transaction coordinator, I don't have to worry about the back paperwork end of it and get bogged down. I can do what I do, build relationships with people, and that just continues to help me grow and my business grow too.
100%. And Anthony, we know you're a team player. You heard through the grapevine, and we'll of course throw this out there that you are a WWE wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I've known about this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you've actually now are going to buy investment properties, and you created a logo, and there's like the WWE ring in the center of it.
It's called Squared Circle Investments. And if you know wrestling, you'll know what squared circle means.
Do you know what that means, Matt?
I'm trying to think though.
That's what they call the
wrestling. Can you break it down? Can you break it down?
That's what they call the wrestling ring. Like, hey, I'm going to meet him in the squared circle. It means we're going to go to battle.
Okay.
I can see that it's squared and then you circle around in the ring. So
there you go.
I can get that.
Okay, good.
But yes, Brandon and I are huge wrestling fans, and we figured if this is a venture between us two, we'll put a little extra on it.
Absolutely. I love that. And so I was bringing that up just because I do think that like everything that you do, you're like very dedicated to it, very true to it. And I know that every time we talk about NTS, we talk about service. And I always say to you guys, no, you can't just say you provide good service because everyone says that and it's not true. So what is important as a business owner, if there's like business owners out there thinking like, man, like I just feel like we need a rebrand or we need a touch up or things aren't working right. What is important about running a team to provide good service?
You got to create a culture, and that culture has got to be exactly what you want it to be. So for instance, he was talking about answering a phone. I have set rules in my company. You have to respond to an email within 15 minutes. You can't let the phone ring more than 3 times, because a lot of times what we hear from other vendors is my title company can never reach them, or it takes 24 hours to get back. That's something that I personally did not like from my old experiences. So when I opened my company, so it's ingrained in my team. Like it is something that they take seriously. And it's funny, if you don't respond to an email and we're all on a group email, there's about 3 or 4 people that are going to that one person saying, hey, something going on? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And it's almost created a culture outside too. Like I'll have clients who will say, hey, I called you like 10 minutes ago and you haven't called me back. And I was in the bathroom or something,
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. That's what I want. I want them to understand that the basic services, but we don't provide basic service.
What would you say to business owners out there that like their team just needs a refresh? Like in the female world, Anthony, so like tomorrow, so I don't have to wash my hair again, I spray dry shampoo, okay? And I fluff it a little bit so it's like a refresh. So I don't have to totally wash my hair and redo it, but I can like freshen it up. So if there's a business owner out there listening, or even like talking to Matt and myself, like what advice do you have for people that like the team just needs like a refresh? How do you like jumpstart them?
There's 2 ways you could do that. So one is obviously doing team building events. The second is just changing offerings that you have. If it's changing, one thing I like to do is I like change. And I think that's important. I want people to feel sometimes uncomfortable. When you're comfortable, you kind of go through the motions and things get stagnant. I'll come up with something and throw them all off, and they're angry with me. But when they're done and they see the result of it, they're accepting of that challenge. So that's how I keep things fresh. I really do. So be it team building, be it changing a product, whatever, just keeping them motivated, keeping them moving.
And I think that leads into, and Matt, I definitely want your opinion, is like systems and processes and tracking, right? So if any agents are out there listening, like LPT provides us all these great resources, but what do you do as an agent to like set your goals, hit your goals, and track your process?
Well, I rely on coaching. So we have tons of coaching resources available through LPT. And that sort of helped me get up and make a schedule and stick to the schedule. So I know what I'm going to do the night before when I go to sleep. I know what my day looks like the next day. And I know that it's now going to start earlier than what it used to. I'm not a morning person but now, I'm up by 7. So that's early for me. He says I should be up by 4:30, but no, it's not going to happen. And then, I set my day and it's very regimented and scheduled, but you allow for some fires to be put out along the way. So it's not always stuck in stone, but that sort of helps you drive and stay accountable to yourself.
I love that. And I think that when we return in segment 3, we're really going to talk about the accountability piece. So we put these systems and processes in place in not just life business or what we're doing with real estate, but then we have to have accountability partners, and I think a great example is like the gym. I have a HotWorks membership. And to hold myself accountable, you get like a buddy, like family plan. So Hillary's like an agent on my team. She's like, no, I'm not going to go here. I go, oh, no, I'll pay the $30 for you to be on my plan, because she can say to me like, hey, meet me at HotWorks, or I'm at HotWorks and this is what I'm doing. And then we have these little apps where we can like track what we're doing. However, I do think you have to set feasible goals. So like the great thing about HotWorks is like the workouts are only 15 minutes and you burn 45 minutes of calories. Like, man, that is my type of jam. I want to be in and out, and it's available 24/7. So being an agent, Matt, like I agree with you. I'm all about the people waking up at 5 a.m., but I work till 1 a.m. sometimes. Right. So, I got to get at least 6, man. Like give me 6 hours. So Matt, if anyone's interested in contacting you, could you throw out your phone number, please?
Yeah, it's 407-480-0271, and Florida Housing Dreams on any form of social media.
And Mr. Anthony Latham with the National Title Solutions, how can someone contact you?
800-NTS-2700 and NTS National on all social media platforms.
So when we return in segment 3, we're going to dive deep into accountability. Like, what does that mean for you? How does that help you in life business and in real estate or any type of investment space that you're in? Who holds you accountable? Why? And we're going to dive deep with Matt and Anthony and see what type of gems they can throw out for you guys. We are going to take a commercial break, pay some bills, and we'll see you after the break.
Biggest win, I think, with the dual path and having these two models is that now we become a brokerage for everyone. No matter where you are in your real estate career or what your goals are today, maybe today you're not interested in recruiting or having a team, but then one day you wake up and you are. Well, if you're at the wrong brokerage to do that, you're locked in. Where in our model, we're not holding anyone hostage. We're not tying anyone in. You can move between the different comp plans and have that success and really achieve whatever your definition of success is under one brokerage platform, being LPT.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. Again, I'm still here, Betsy Tinervin, your host, LPT Realty and the Sunshine State Investments team. Happy to be in the studio today. We are talking all things teams, systems, processes, and accountability. And these are things, I don't know who's listening today, because of course I can never see you. You can only just hear me. So whether you're at the gym, doing laundry, or driving in your car, I hope that today helps you just in all aspects. This is not just a business focus, but this is in all aspects of your life. I do think more successful entrepreneurs have accountability partners. They have accountability plans. They have ways to track KPIs and processes, because you can't measure success if you don't have a way to measure it. So we're really going to dive deep, as promised, into accountability. And Anthony, I'm going to turn to you. Okay. Because A, you're a business owner, and B, you're a husband. So I'm going to give you a little twist here as we throw in the life piece. How long have you been married to your wife, Deb?
20 years.
20 years.
Been together 27.
Yes. And so
I think it's right.
I hope
it's
Debbie's
right.
listening right now.
It is. I know it is.
So
I know it is.
Okay, you know it's right.
100%.
Okay, so I really want to talk about accountability, and in both areas, right? Let's start about accountability in your marriage.
That is probably the reason I'm as successful as I am. I have a partner who understands what being a business owner is. I've been surrounded by folks who didn't have that support, and their success was that result is heavily weighted on how your partner handles you being an entrepreneur, because it's not easy. It's 24/7, 365. It never shuts off. So she holds me accountable. That's the other part too. If I'm setting a goal, she's reminding me of that goal, and she knows what I want. So she makes it easy.
I know Debbie is great.
She can make
man.
it. Yeah,
You're lucky.
I couldn't imagine having a partner who wasn't. And,
Yeah.
like, why aren't you home? Or,
100%. I mean, I think in the entrepreneur world, it's really hard. Relationships are work.
It is.
So I think it is by her reminding you what goals you've set, then also allows her to be flexible. She wants you to meet those goals. But if we're not meeting goals, then why am I sacrificing my time? You know what I mean?
We wrote, first time we ever wrote our goals, we were in our 20s, early 20s. And what do you want to do? And we've always done that. I still do it to this day, every year.
That's awesome. Now, accountability in business. Are we holding employees accountable? How are we holding ourselves accountable as a leader? Speak or whatever you want.
Oh, you have to be consistent. If you are going to set up boundaries or goals, you have to follow through and work with your team to help them achieve those goals and hold them to them. A lot of times we'll get in our Monday meetings and we'll tell them what we're expecting. And then the follow-up is, nothing's really done until we're having an uncomfortable conversation. So what I've learned is just be consistent with it, stay on top of them. They want that direction. They need that direction. And, that's our job to give it to them.
110%. I think that when we're uncomfortable, we grow the most. But I also believe that when accountability plans are set in place and they're broken, there's really no question about like if there's a consequence or what's going to occur because we all agreed on the plan. So I love that upfront thinking. I also really love the factor of you discussing like the goal setting in your marriage being an entrepreneur, because I know even for myself that we have a 12-inch plate. When we add things to our plate, we have to take something off. And so for me, a lot of people are like, why are you single? I'm like, have you looked at my plate? Like a relationship is a whole bunch of work. Like I got to do things.
You made a business decision.
I absolutely did. And not that is not in like my near future, but right now while I'm juggling all of these balls, I think it's like a commitment piece. So I love how committed Debbie is to the business being successful. And then I also love how committed you are to your wife to achieve those goals. I love that. So Matt Miller, accountability is such a scary word sometimes, huh?
It is. Yeah. And I run in, the same issues with having a family and where you spend your time. And when I start walking to the computer at 10 o'clock at night, I get these looks like, what are you doing? But that comes back to she knows what our goals are. And she knows.
Can you
what
give me an example of what that look looks like?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
because Anthony's nodding his head too. So at the end of the day, like I just thought it was hilarious. So is that just like a woman thing? So like you guys are both male entrepreneurs. You get the look when you walk to the computer at 10 o'clock.
Well, I give her the look too because she's flexible in her job, and so when she goes and walks to the back office and wants to start doing some work or respond to an email at 11, we always question, what's the value of what you're doing. But, when it really comes down to when you're setting goals, I think it's not just goals, but specific goals. And that's one of the big things that I learned this past year is that I want to sell, let's say, 10 more houses this year. Well, if it's $50,000 short sales, that's not my goal. So you have to put the price point, how you're going to get there. And that sort of helps to hold me accountable. And there's things that are just you can't do anything about that you have to make sure that you stay on point and stay on track to what your goals are.
People ask me all the time, they're like, you like do radio and then you do these speaking things. And it's crazy because the Grand Prix situation, we are like in the McAfee Theater. And people think that I just obviously don't prepare and I just like show up and like perform. And that's just not the case. I mean, I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning last night, going over things. I ask a lot of people to review them. I ask their opinions. And then the other thing I ask people to do is like show up and give me constructive criticism. And it was funny. I was joking, Matt, when we started, but like you guys obviously do a show in Trinity. And I said, hey, I really want to hear like your feedback on how the show flows and what we do. So I brought that up because you said coaching earlier. And so what does a coach mean to you? Like, what is the definition of a coach and a mentor? Like, and even a leader, what does that mean to you?
Well, a coach is somebody that's going to typically hold you accountable, and they're going to give you specific goals, and they're going to make sure they're following up with you and you follow back with them. And it's somebody that can teach you at the same time as to how to meet those goals and lead by example. A mentor is more on a broader scale, somebody that has been successful, somebody that you can model yourself after, but you don't necessarily know the ins and outs of their daily business and how they got to where they are. Robert Palmer being an example, he's a great mentor for people. You see the success that he's had, and he's done it, with great marketing and different campaigns that he's done. And that's something that, it leads me in that direction to know what I need to do, but it doesn't give me that roadmap. It's not putting me on a specific plan where that's where a coach will come down and sort of drill down to the specifics to get you to where you need to be.
I think that coaching is so important, and I love the word roadmap. We do a 30-day roadmap to success with our team, and it really lays out week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And I think that really goes into what is attainable in your life. If you have a coach and you set goals and you define success, it's different for everybody. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. So what is that definition for you in our industry? Like, what are things that make you feel successful? What are things that make you feel like you provided an experience? And why is that important for you?
Successful is helping somebody out of situations that are sometimes beyond their control. I had a client recently who, after 9 years living in a property, all of a sudden the owner of the home wants to move back and she's out on the street. She was on a month-to-month lease. Helping somebody like that get into their forever home and being able to help them through the process, whether it be connections with a lender, people with credit repair, it gets them, and you see that end result, and that gives you a lot of joy. So that combined with the ability of real estate to give me financial freedom. And that goes back to David Kurz, who's one of the LPT agents and coaches through Freedom Coaching. He's really big on it's freedom coaching. It's a freedom day. And that freedom is different for everybody. Mine is to be at 70 years old. I want to have my team making my money in real estate, and I can enjoy my boat, getting out on the water.
Okay,
camping,
so now,
whatever.
Anthony, it's officially come out. Matt's over here thinking about his boats.
I love it.
I do too. I think that's great. And I think that when we come back, I really definitely want to dive into more of the goals and just all of the things. I think a lot of business owners are afraid to set high standards. But I also think being hypocritical that what we don't do today because we speed through life, it's there's no yellow light, right? And we don't celebrate the small wins. Because I think in our industry, especially right now, whether you're closing 10 or 20 or 50 files a month, Anthony, or Matt, you're doing 1 to 2 transactions or 5 to 6, the fact that we're still in this industry in 2023 with what's been going on in the economy and the impact that really the recession, which is what it is, and inflation has done to all of our businesses, we should be proud of that. So after the break, we're going to talk about celebrating small wins, setting attainable goals. And these guys are just amazing. So if you want to contact Matt Miller, Matt, throw out your phone number, please.
Yeah, 407-480-0271, or on social media, Florida Housing Dreams.
And Anthony, if somebody wants to contact you in regards to business, life, especially all those people out there that really want to know that look that Deb gives you, please throw out your phone number so they can contact you.
Absolutely. It's 800-NTS-2700.
I love that.
All free.
And I think what's really great today is, again, we talk about this open ecosystem, Matt, and I love the factor that we've built a relationship. We're in totally different cities, totally different downlines, totally different teams, and we can collaborate and work together. And Anthony, we've been rocking since 2015, doing vendor events and providing clients with educational things and doing lunch and learns. And then obviously just seeing all of the agents grow in our industry and me supporting your business as well. So if you are looking for, business support, or you're trying to figure out your strengths and weaknesses, definitely find an accountability partner, and you are not going to want to miss the next segment. Unfortunately, we have to pay some bills, but I will catch you after the break. Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I know that you're disappointed, as I am Betsy Tinervin, your host, and we are on our final segment of today. I hope that you're having a phenomenal weekend and enjoying the amazing Tampa Bay weather. This show is powered by LPT Realty, sponsored by Robert Palmer, who we all love and adore, as he is just a phenomenal businessman, friend, husband, father, all of the things. And we are so excited to be a part of LPT because, again, I think Anthony mentioned it earlier in the show. It truly is a culture and a vibe. Happy to have Matt Miller here all the way from the Daytona area.
Yeah.
If anyone is looking for real estate over there, what I love about Daytona too, and I want to mention this really quick, Matt, is you can get some pretty discounted stuff like on the beach. So if you don't want to spend the Davis Island, Treasure Island prices and you're happen to be out of state, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, all of those places, you can get some really nice places on the beach and you're a hop, skip, and a jump to other areas as well. So definitely reach out to my guy, Matt. Anthony Latham is here with National Title Solutions. I've been doing business with him for a long time. He is definitely a friend, a mentor, and a coach to me in the business world. So we've talked a lot about systems, processes, developing out as an entrepreneur. So if you want to catch the replay of our show, you can go to our Facebook page, LPT Realty Radio All-Stars. That always catches me every time. That's like a tongue twister. But just look up LPT Radio All-Stars on Facebook. We post all the audiograms, and then there's YouTube links so you can replay our show. Today, we are going to end the show just talking about attainable goals and celebrating wins. So, Matt, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means having success. So if I meet my goals, there's obviously success that comes with that. This year started out really strong in a changing market. Daytona actually is moving towards a buyer's market. Actually, we're pretty much in a buyer's market in Daytona area. So there's just a lot of opportunity, and I'm sort of moving as the market changes. So my goals are shifting a little too, because I see a lot more potential now with buyers versus the listing side. So you just sort of be flexible and follow your goals and hold yourself accountable.
I love that. So when you go to set a goal, I think this is where people get confused. And you see this a lot in January. There's all these New Year's resolutions, right? And they're like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to execute this. And 9 out of 10 people fail. Did you know that, Matt?
I would say probably 9.5 out of 10.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think it's because the goals that they're setting are not attainable. And again, I referenced the gym. It's an easy metaphor, right? I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to do this 75-day hard plan. And day 76, they've not created a behavioral change, and they're right back to doing what they're doing. So for all the listeners out there, whether it's real estate, life, a different type of business, what do they do when they set a goal? Like, where do you start with that roadmap?
You start where you want to be. So what your end goal is. So let's say mine for this year is to sell more homes. And I know that I want to sell 10 more homes this year than what I did last year, but I want them to be in higher price points. So I break that goal down, and then I break it out monthly as to what I'm going to need and how many transactions I need. And then you continue to follow that. So if you don't hit it in the first month, now the second month's double. So you're going to have to do double what your goal was. And that's sort of, you break it into manageable pieces. So you start with a big overall goal, and then you break it down into something that's manageable, and you track it.
I love manageable pieces. I'm stealing that. I love that. I think it is difficult when you set goals too high and then you don't get to celebrate wins. I mean, nobody wants to continue doing a process that doesn't bring joy, satisfaction into your life. And so when you set goals that are just not attainable or you're not capable, I think the 80-20 rule is amazing. And I love using that as a leader and just setting goals for myself, because if I am 80% of the time doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm on track and I'm on point, then 20% of the time, it's okay for me to be a normal human being. So with that being said, Anthony, I'm going to turn to you, because I think that Matt's talking about more individual goals. And as a business owner and a leader, we have to do this with our teams. We have to set goals for multiple people, and then we have a team, right? So it's different. In a swim meet, you swim down to the end. Whoever touches is a winner. On a basketball court, you have 5 people. They have to play together.
Yeah, you have to be a chameleon.
Exactly.
A lot of different personalities.
So how do you set team goals, and why is it important when you're setting goals to set things that allow you as a business to celebrate wins?
Well, the first thing is, I had a eye-opening experience with my team many, many years ago when I had broken down some numbers and money, and I said, this is what we need to be profitable. And they all these light bulbs went off, and they all said, now that we know that, it's going to be a lot easier to attain it. Because when they don't know what they're trying to attain, they're just kind of, they're desperate. They're reaching. They're doing things that aren't, what brought them to the table. So I truly believe once you give them something individually and as a team, that makes their job a lot easier. You'd be surprised if you give them a goal and you say, hey, this is where we need to be, or this is where you need to be. It's quite amazing. So for us as a younger company, all of my executives came up together. And we kind of just figured it out together. And when we finally started realizing, we need to put some numbers to this to make it make sense, instead of saying, just go out and sell title. Well, what's that look like?
Yeah.
Do you need 5? You need 10? You need 50? And once you start getting them developed to understand those numbers, that's part of that too. You have to let them in a little bit, right? You got to show them, as I call, behind the door. What is that we're attaining? Why does it look that way? What do things cost? So there's a lot that goes into that.
So a lot of explanation and just getting them to understand. And then what about celebrating wins? Why is it important as a leader that you acknowledge people that you've helped set these goals and you've held them accountable? And throughout the whole show, we have systems and processes and protocols. Why is it important as a leader to celebrate wins?
For me, because 99% of the time they're going out of their box and they're doing something they didn't think they could do themselves. So when they do it, I get to enjoy watching their reaction more than anything. And that's where I'm at in my life. I like to see, hey, so-and-so, I need you to do this. And they look at me like, there's no way. And then they do it, they knock it out of the park, and they're rewarded by, monetary, whatever it is. And just seeing them say, hey, I did that. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, when we were handing out certificates the other night at the 30 Days Build Your Business, Don't Just Be a Realtor class that I teach, I cried because 2 people took the class twice. And they have executed every single thing in the binder that I give them. They have done all of their stuff. And it's makes me so happy to see them just killing it. To invest your time for 5 weeks straight every Wednesday night, not once, but twice.
Yeah.
10 weeks of their life. And then they're just checking off all the boxes and they're so appreciative and they're so grateful. I truly do believe in that each one teach one method. I think it's amazing. And Matt, I want to give you the full opportunity. I don't know about you, Matt, because you're pretty aggressive, to give any listeners final thoughts from you, anything that you'd like to say.
Final thoughts from me are, obviously I'm on what we call the fun coast. So Daytona, New Smyrna area, Ormond Beach. If you're looking for something in that area, I'd really like to work with people from this area. You mentioned earlier there's really a lower price point in Daytona than what you're going to have over here in this area. I showed a condo the other day, $180,000 with a $300 HOA with an ocean view. So, you can't beat that. And we did have some damage, and the hurricanes hit bad on that coast. So if you're going to look at investing or you want property over there, make sure you're using a qualified realtor, whether it's me or not. Don't go into it blindly, because there's a lot going on with HOAs, assessments that are pending, things like that. So
I love that. And Matt Miller is definitely my team's go-to for that side of Florida. We love being able to connect and referral business out. So Matt, if anyone wants to connect with you, could you give them your phone number?
Yep, 407-480-0271, and Florida Housing Dreams on all social media.
And Anthony, final thoughts for our listeners today.
Yeah, set those goals and go get them.
Yeah.
One thing real quick before we go. You talk about personal wins, right? I think since you and I have kind of developed this kind of mentor back and forth, you've helped me appreciate my wins. I never looked at them before because I always thought it wasn't about me, right? It's about everybody else. So I appreciate that, by the way. And you can reach me at 800 NTS 2700. I had to get that in.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that you always say that, hey, Betsy, I really didn't see it like that. And I really do. I think there's a lot of amazing things. You have run this business and it's a big operation. You guys are a big operation. And not only are you doing it in Chicago, but you're doing it here. But I love the factor that you have a place here now. You can be here now. You can be close to the team here now. You can enjoy some warm weather. And you also have a family. And from what I've heard, I believe your daughter is going to be coming to go to college.
Yeah, she just got accepted to UT.
I'm so
August
excited
29th.
about that.
Yes,
and I just had to get that in because I think that's a win.
With a merit scholarship, too.
Okay, that's a big win.
I just had to throw that in.
And so I think all of that, just look at that circle of life just being down here and how you were in Riverview. You took it back to the cold. Now you have this temporary space. Now we're looking at an investment property to put your daughter in.
My trio's back in Tampa.
I love that. Everyone out there listening, we really appreciate you downloading that iHeartRadio app. Matt and Anthony, joy to have both of you here today. I hope that I see both of you back. I just love doing this show, bringing you the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate. For everyone that watches us on Facebook Live, checks out our Facebook page, LPT All-Star Radio page. We would love to connect with you as we are catalysts and connectors in the Tampa Bay community. And unfortunately, our time is up today, and we will catch you next weekend.
Thanks for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined. We hope this episode motivated and inspired you. And don't forget to rate and review us. Thanks again for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast with Betsy Tinervin.